We're back. We're moving on. Chapter 36 of Ecce Romani. We are talking about Roman dates, not the dates that guys like Sextus would unsuccessfully try and get with pretty Roman girls, but days of the month, the Roman calendar. This is detailed on pages 88, 89, and 90 in your book if you have that, if you want to follow along. Here we go. The Roman calendar was, in some aspects, very similar to our calendar that we use today. And each month had 3 special days. These are important. You need to know them. You treat them as vocabulary words. So there were the Kalends, the 1st of the month, the Nones, the 5th of the month, and the Ides, the 13th of the month. The Latin noun for Kalends is calendae calendarum. So it's a first declension noun. It's feminine, and it really only exists in the plural. So calendae calendarum, calendis, calendas, calendis. Nones in Latin comes out as nonae, nonarum, another first declension plural noun. Its gender is feminine. Again, that's the 5th of the month. And then the Ides, the 13th of the month, the Latin for that is idus ideum, and that is a 4th declension noun. So the 4th declension, we don't see it too often. Here's one of them: idus, ideum, idibus, idus, idibus. Again, feminine, again, plural, and that's the 13th of the month. These are 3 days that you want to know: the Kalends, the 1st, the Nones, the 5th, and the Ides, the 13th. You need to know those very, very well if you want to be able to express the days of the month. One slight adjustment. In the months of March, May, July, and October, the Nones are on the 7th, and the Ides are on the 15th. I'll say that again. That is important. In the months of March, May, July, and October, instead of being on the 5th, the Nones are on the 7th, and instead of being on the 13th, the Ides are on the 15th. This is most famously known for the Ides of March. I'm sure you've probably heard that from Shakespeare. This is when Julius Caesar was killed. He was not killed on March 13. He was killed on March 15th, because in the month of March, the Ides fall on the 15th. So keep that in mind. Please be aware of that as we are going forward. So if I'm going to express a day of a month in Latin, I do this in relation to the Kalends, Nones, or Ides. So I've got that up at the top of the screen for reference, just in case you need it. And there are 3 ways I do that. If I am on one of those particular days in any month, I'm going to use the ablative of time when construction, and that's it. So if I want to say on April 1st, I simply say calendis aprilibus. That's on the Kalends of April, most literally. And then again, calendis, ablative. Aprilibus, ablative. If I wanted to say on February 5, on the Nones of February, that is nonis Februariis, ablative of time when. And on March 15, we just talked about this, on the Ides of March, watch out, Caesar, idibus Martiis. Idibus Martiis, on the Ides of March. So on March 15. So that's the easiest way. If I'm on the Kalends, Nones, or Ides, I simply take that noun and put it in the ablative. And then I take the accompanying month that I'm in, and I put that in the ablative as well, and I'm done. The second way I express time is if I want to say the day before any one of those 3 days. So the day before the Kalends, the last day of the month. The day before the Nones, the day before the Ides. I use a preposition pridie, which literally means the day before. Since pridie is a preposition, it has to be followed by a particular case. Pridie is followed by the accusative. So if I wanted to say that first bullet point there, on April 30, well, April 30 is the day before May 1st. That's the Kalends of May. So pridie calendas Maias literally means on the day before the Kalends of May. That comes out for us as on April 30, because April 30 is the day before May 1st. That second bullet point, pridie idus Octobres, literally means on the day before the Ides of October. October is one of the months where the Ides are on the 15th. So pridie idus Octobres means October 14. So these 2 expressions, the first one, the ablative of time when, and then pridie plus the accusative, that takes care of 6 days out of any month. It takes care of the Kalends, the Nones, the Ides, and it takes care of the day before the Kalends or the Nones or the Ides. Obviously, there are a lot of days left in a month, so let's see how we tackle those. They're actually all going to be done using the same construction. We call this the ante diem, or AD for short, construction. Be careful. This AD is different from the Anno Domini AD, as in Anno Domini 2012, AD 2012. This ante diem is for days of a month, but AD is fine. Ante, another preposition that takes the accusative. That's why diem is accusative there. And then as you can see in this bullet point, ante diem IV, we have a Roman numeral there, and then kalendas decembres, kalendas is accusative, and decembres is also accusative because of that preposition ante. When we use this construction, we're going to say ante diem, or AD, and then we'll see a Roman numeral, and then again we're going to see one of those 3 days, kalends, nones, or ides, and a month, because every day is expressed in relation to the kalends, nones, or ides. Ante diem means before the day, and the Roman numeral is going to be how many days before. So ante diem means on the 4th day before the kalends of December. Roman time is always expressed by going backwards, and this particular instruction is going to use counting. So anybody who's a very skilled counter, this is going to be very easy for you. So ante diem IV, kalendas decembres, on the 4th day before December 1st, that comes out to be November 28th. If you're thinking about that, going through it in your head, you might think that I did some funny math there. Well, let's look a little closer at this to see how it works. Here's a calendar. Again, this expression, ante diem, IV, kalendas decembres, is saying on the 4th day before the kalends of December. So we want to start with the kalends of December, there in yellow, December 1st. And we're going to go backwards. Keyword, backwards. We never go forwards for Latin dates. We always go backwards. We're going to go backwards from there 4 days. But here's the other thing. The Romans counted inclusively. So I want to start counting day 1 with the kalends there. So 1, now follow me over to November because I'm going backwards. 2, 3, 4. So the 4th day before the kalends of December, we would say November 28th. Make sense? So the 2 important things to remember here, we count backwards and we start with that day, either the kalends, nones, or ides. We start our counting there and then we continue. Let's do another one of these for some practice. What if I wanted to say ante diem VIII idus Martias? That's the Latin. What would the day be in English? So this is going to be, hopefully you know your Roman numerals, VIII is 8. So on the 8th day before the Ides of March. Like I mentioned earlier, it's very important to remember when the kalends, nones, or ides are, and if there are any of those different days. So hopefully, if you're working with me, or maybe even a little ahead of me, we've recognized by now that the Ides of March are March 15th. And now we want to start from there and count backwards inclusively. That means starting with the 15th. We want to inclusively count backwards 8 days, and that will give us ante diem VIII idus Martias. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th day before the Ides of March, March 8th. So that's how that would work in Latin. How do we say March 8th? Ante diem VIII idus Martias. So if the Romans were starting to get ready for March Madness on or around March 8th, that's how they would do it. How about the months? Here they are, and they are adjectives because these need to agree with kalends, nones, or ides, or other nouns as we may use them in translating. And as you're looking at this list, I would really hope that you see the glaring similarities between the Roman months and our months. Januarius, Februarius, Martius, Aprilis, Maius, Junius, Julius, Augustus, September, October, November, December. Again, these are adjectives. Some are 2-1-2 adjectives, like you can see, Januarius, Februarius, Martius, Maius, Junius, Julius, Augustus. Others are third declension adjectives, namely Aprilis, September, October, November, December. If you're looking at it, especially that final month, December, which we call December, you can see decem in there, as in 10. So December used to be the 10th month. There used to be 10 months in the Roman year. Then at a certain point there were 12. So where did the extra 2 come from? For extra credit, anybody who comes in tomorrow before class starts and gives me a sheet of paper identifying the 2 extra months and where they came from, again, I'll give you a couple points of extra credit, but you got to get that to me before class starts tomorrow. In general, you want to know these months. So for some extra practice at this, we're going to get a lot of it in class, but if you want to do some on your own, I would recommend exercise 36B on page 90 or exercise 36C on page 91. Thanks for watching. See you later.